In February 2024, Segna Chinedu, a British national of African descent residing in the Gambia, was found dead in her compound after being missing for 2 days. The Gambia police force later disclosed that Chinedu had allegedly been murdered by Augustine Bangura, a Sierra Leonean national who was subsequently brought before the High Court of the Gambia. This week, the police issued a statement confirming the investigation into another alleged murder of Leonard Dominic, also a British national of African descent, who was killed on October 19, 2024. In response, the Council of African Descendants held a press conference to address these disturbing incidents within the Gambia diaspora community. The Council appealed for urgent attention to the murderous and growing insecurity facing African descendants in the Gambia. Luke Mackenzie, chairman of the COAD, stated during the press conference that the culture of silence is no longer an option, given the increasing attacks on their community. Many African descendants present shared concerns over burglaries and violence, expressing feelings of vulnerability in the country.
It's come the time where we no longer can be quiet. I remember when I first came to this country, and we used to have little situations that would be happening, and people would say to me, shh, 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 be quiet, don't say anything. Either because of culture, because of that we were new in the country, and it took some time would be offensive. But when life is being taken away from us, then the time to be quiet is finished. We can no longer be quiet.
Empress Zahra, a community member, recounted a burglary at her residence 5 months ago, adding to a series of distressing experiences shared by others.
On the 19th of June, I'm just going to break it down. I was attacked in my home whilst I was asleep. They had me at knife point. They dragged me from my bedroom to the living room. They demanded money from me, which they got. They demanded jewelry. They took my phones, and they stripped me from my dignity. My only defense at that time was to quickly think. So I was with my grandson at the time, so my immediate reaction was to spray them with the pepper gas, which worked. But in the meantime, it worked, but I got repercussion from it because the person that did this stabbed me at the same time.
Binta, another African descendant, called on the Gambia government to provide stronger assurance for their safety and that of all citizens.
My expectation of the government is bold and strong statements to the country about zero tolerance of these types of crimes that are happening, what they will do to combat this, where their energies are going to be placed, and their strong feelings about what is happening in Gambia today, and putting out a strong message to the country that this is something that will not be tolerated. We need this kind of statements that to be made from this government, not just to us who are here, coming here, but to Gambian people who are also concerned, very concerned about what is happening today in this country.
Lita Robertson, who has lived in the Gambia for 12 years, highlighted the challenges faced by the Gambia police force, noting a lack of resources and equipment essential for effective law enforcement.
What I'm trying to say is that we have a police force here, but they're so underfunded. You know, they don't seem to be able to do very much. It's not that they don't have the ability. They have the ability to do it, but they're so underfunded, you know, that they just don't do very much. So if you're not prepared to put your hands in your pocket, then they're not even going to come to see what your problem is.
Human rights advocate Mar Nyang, who is also the executive director of Gambia Participates, urged authorities to expedite the prosecution of perpetrators, stressing that timely justice could help curb crime rates.
You can go anywhere at any time without being chased after, because there was law and order. We want to restore that law and order. And the only way to restore that law and order is for the police to do the due diligence and make sure any single perpetrator is held accountable for their action. Now, this is one way of deterring such illicit activity from happening again. Where there is justice and accountability, people will not be acting this way. But if we keep reporting these criminal activities and the police, based on your account and based on the account of my Moroccan colleague and many others, that the police keep demanding money from them, then it becomes unbearable. Now, how do we welcome or encourage people like you from other side of the world that want to resettle back here in Gambia? Will they come back? So I stand with you guys. I stand with everyone. In fact, it is not only unsafe for you, but every single month, hypothetically speaking, we also hear Gambians being murdered and thrown in the bush, or their bodies found somewhere else. That's never been the case in this country. That's not the Gambia that we have known for. So I think, number one, the call to action is to the state to make sure they intensify their patrol during the day and during the night. Number two, every single perpetrator of such crimes are investigated, arrested, and held accountable. And number three, to create a conducive environment, secured environment for that matter, so that we can work in harmony, we can work in love. At the same time, we will have a peace of mind.
The Council of African Descendants in the country called on the government to enhance their security and protect them from further harm, voicing frustration over the handling of cases by the police and demanding more thorough investigations. The press conference served as a platform to raise awareness, discuss support for victims' families, and strategize to improve safety within the community. Reporting for Kerfatu, I am Buba Gayigo.